In the shadowed annals of history, where the roar of cannons fades into whispers of the sea, lies the tale of the Battle of Whispering, tides a naval clash so fierce and forgotten that it reshaped the fate of nations without a single monument to its name. It was 1943, amid the chaos of World War II, when the Pacific Ocean became a graveyard of dreams. Captain Elias Thorne, a man with eyes like stormy skies and a heart forged in the fires of duty, commanded the USS Elysium, a destroyer that had seen better days. Elias was no stranger to the waves. Born in the misty harbors of New England, he carried the weight of his ancestors' seafaring legacy, but beneath his stoic facade lay a vulnerability, a love for Isabella Voss, a brilliant cartographer back home, whose letters were his anchor in the tempest. Isabella, with her raven hair and spirit as unyielding as the ocean cliffs, worked tirelessly in a dimly lit office in Washington, mapping enemy movements. Her name evoked images of blooming roses in spring, soft yet resilient. She had met Elias during a fleeting shore leave, their romance blossoming like a rare flower amid wartime thorns. "Come back to me, my captain," she wrote in her last letter, her words stained with tears. "The world may forget our battles, but I'll remember your touch." Elias kept that letter folded against his chest, a talisman against the horrors ahead. Aboard the Elysium sailed young Lucas Hale, a wide-eyed ensign barely out of his teens, with freckles like stars on his cheeks and a name that whispered of ancient heroes. Lucas had joined the Navy to escape the poverty of his Midwestern farm, dreaming of glory. But war had a way of shattering illusions. He idolized Elias, seeing in him the father he never had. "Sir, why do we fight battles no one will remember?" Lucas once asked during a quiet watch under the stars. Elias paused, gazing at the horizon where the sea met the sky. "Because, lad, some shocks to the world aren't meant for parades. They're for the souls who endure them." Little did they know, their words would soon be tested in the crucible of fire. The mission was classified, a desperate gambit to intercept a Japanese convoy carrying vital supplies to their island strongholds. Intelligence from Isabella's maps pinpointed the route through the whispering tides, a treacherous strait riddled with coral reefs and unpredictable currents, named for the eerie moans the wind made through the rocks. The Allies had dismissed it as suicidal. The enemy deemed it impenetrable. But Elias's small task, force 3 destroyers and a submarine, slipped into the shadows, their hulls painted black as night. As dawn broke on that fateful morning, the sea was a mirror of calm deception. The convoy appeared, 5 massive transports escorted by 2 cruisers and a swarm of destroyers, their guns gleaming like predators' teeth. Elias stood on the bridge, his voice steady as he issued orders. "All hands to battle stations. Today we etch our names into the waves." The battle erupted like thunder from a clear sky. Torpedoes sliced through the water, explosions blooming into fiery flowers. The Elysium shuddered as shells rained down, her decks slick with salt water and blood. Lucas manned the anti-aircraft guns, his hands blistering from the heat, fending off dive bombers that screamed like banshees. "For home!" he yelled, his voice cracking with fear and resolve. In the chaos, Elias spotted the lead cruiser, the IJN Haruka, bearing down on them. Its massive turret swiveled, unleashing a salvo that tore through the Elysium sister ship, the USS Aurora, sending her to the depths in a vortex of flames. Men screamed as they leaped into the shark-infested waters. Elias's heart clenched. Those were his brothers in arms, forgotten before they even sank. "Helm, full speed ahead. We're ramming if we must," Elias commanded, his eyes locked on the Haruka. The Elysium charged, dodging torpedoes by inches, her guns blazing. Lucas, spotting an incoming plane, swiveled his turret and unleashed a hail of fire, downing the bomber in a spectacular blaze. But victory came at a cost. A stray shell struck near him, shrapnel embedding in his side. He collapsed, blood pooling, yet he smiled weakly at Elias. "Did I do good, sir?" Elias knelt beside him, pressing a cloth to the wound. "You did more than good, Lucas. You shocked the world." Tears stung his eyes, but there was no time for grief. The submarine, the USS Shadow, surfaced briefly, launching torpedoes that crippled 2 transports. The convoy faltered, supplies meant for thousands of troops now destined for the ocean floor. As the Haruka loomed closer, Elias made a fateful choice. "Abandon ship," he ordered, but he stayed at the helm, steering the Elysium into a collision course. The impact was cataclysmic, metal screeching against metal, sparks flying like dying stars. The Haruka listed, her decks aflame, while the Elysium began to sink. Elias leaped into the sea, pulling Lucas with him, swimming through debris to the shadow. The battle lasted mere hours, but its shockwaves rippled far. The convoy's loss starved Japanese forces on key islands, hastening Allied advances and saving countless lives. Yet in the grand tapestry of war, it was buried under headlines of Midway and Normandy. No medals were struck, no books written. It became one of those forgotten naval battles that shocked the world in silence. Back home, Isabella received the news in fragments, a telegram confirming Elias's survival. But with the weight of loss, Lucas didn't make it. His body claimed by the tides. She wept for the boy she never met, and for the man who returned changed. Elias arrived on her doorstep months later, scarred and hollow-eyed, the letter still in his pocket, now frayed and salt-stained. They married under a canopy of cherry blossoms, vowing to honor the forgotten. Elias became a teacher, sharing stories of unsung heroes to wide-eyed students. History remembers the spectacles, he'd say, but the true shocks come from the shadows. Isabella illustrated books of naval lore, her maps now guiding imaginations rather than fleets. Years passed, and on a quiet evening by the sea, Elias and Isabella sat with their granddaughter, little Sophia, named for wisdom and grace. Sophia, with curls like golden waves and eyes full of wonder, asked, "Grandpa, were you a hero?" Elias smiled, glancing at the horizon. "No, child. The heroes are the forgotten ones, like Lucas, who gave everything for a world that moved on." He pulled out the old letter, reading Isabella's words aloud, his voice trembling. It was a reminder that some battles aren't won with guns, but with hearts that endure. In the end, the Battle of Whispering Tides taught that the most powerful shocks aren't the explosions that echo across oceans, but the quiet sacrifices that bind humanity. Elias and Isabella's love, forged in fire and tempered by loss, became a beacon for those who seek the untold stories. And though the world forgot, their tale lived on, a powerful whisper in the wind, touching souls across time.